Boom. All right, so we're back at it. So how's everyone else doing? Anyone else have any experiences they want to share, or the different exercises, share like their experience with the exercises that they have going on for themselves, spiritual disciplines that they have incorporating, meditation, concentration, visualization, manifestation, anything of that nature, or the life force exercises that we went over last week. Anybody been practicing those?
I've been back practicing the focus with the candle, and
Nice,
I've been
beautiful,
able to visualize a little bit better, like
good,
holding
good.
like my intentions of what I want to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been
Nice.
actually seeing results. And I've been, you know how they say like you can like telecommunicate with people
Mm-hmm.
and like get them to call you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did it a couple of times
Absolutely.
and they did, and I was just like, dang, it worked.
Nice. Nice. Stepping into your power. Beautiful.
hmm
Amazing. Awesome. So what as of today, what do you understand concentration to be?
For me,
Yeah, yeah.
um, basically just like being able to focus.
Mhm.
Um,
Good. All right. Yeah, I
I
mean, I,
think
I wasn't expecting any like super complex answer or anything. Yeah, just because it is very simple. And what do you understand your attention to be?
um, I I would say picture like being able to hold a picture in my mind.
Mhm.
Like a some like I don't hold it as long as I would like to, but I just
Mhm.
keep refocusing myself back to it,
Yeah,
so
yeah. No, it's good. It's good. I only ask this because as you do this exercise more and more, your understanding of concentration will evolve and your understanding of attention will evolve, what they are, what they do, power that they hold, and your relationship with them. So yeah, just asking that, and I might ask it again, see what your answer is then. You know,
Mhm.
maybe ask yourself. Maybe
That's
like
right.
write down your answers that you just shared today, and then in like a week or two, reassess them and see if there's something different.
I,
What
I
is what is
I would
attention? What
say
attention?
like putting my energy toward like pushing it towards something.
Yeah, because energy flows where the attention goes.
hmm
Absolutely. Yeah. Nice. And so, for what you just shared, that's more than just a saying. You're starting to truly understand that it's knowledge that is a foundation, becoming a foundation for you. Because that's what a understanding is something that is under where you're standing. It's the foundation of what you're standing upon.
hmm
Yeah, it's beautiful. Awesome. Yeah, yeah. I would write those down and then just continue to see how it evolves. I mean, even me, 10, 11 years later, I still continue to understand deeper what my attention is. That was one of the very first disciplines I ever got was, uh, well, actually, the first one that I got was a concentration exercise, but it was a mirror gazing exercise because it is amazing for self awareness. And so, what you do is instead of gazing at a candle flame, you gaze at this point on your forehead, not stare at it, but just a soft gaze where your eyes are looking here, your eyes are pointed here, but your attention is on your whole face. You just do that for 5 minutes every day. That's it. And then see what experience you have with it. That's an amazing self awareness. You really understand who you are as a soul doing that. Anybody remember any dreams or any other exercises that anyone's doing?
I do.
Okay,
I
yeah.
have a
Fire away.
nice little quick dream I would like to
Okay.
share. Um,
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out what this means. Man, I've been thinking about this for a while, but I think this was at the end of my dream. At the end of this dream, I was on a porch and my niece was trying to squirt water into a little bucket for my dog to drink out of.
Mhm.
And so after she gets done doing that, she squirts it in a weird way. Like the water will face straight up, but it'll still go into the bowl. But
Mhm.
then again, it's still spilling all over the place. So then I take her aside and I'm just teaching her while I'm on the porch and lecturing her
Mhm.
about what was it about exactly? Teaching and lecturing her about different forces, the amount of force you need to put into something in order to make it work, the amount of energy and attention
Mhm.
you need to put into your stuff in order to achieve that,
Mhm.
and all sorts of stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so I was just wondering, what does a porch mean in a dream? And also, if you can try to interpret this dream, if you can. What am I
Yeah.
saying? If
Yeah.
you can.
Well, it's just a matter of symbols, And
Hmm.
so porch, I never even so just to give you all an example, I come across new symbols every once in a while. It's more less and less frequent the further along I go. But me, I only have, as you all know, you typically have similar dreams, because as your consciousness is evolving, it can be rapid, but even when it's rapid, there's still similarities as you continue to go down your journey, So, as you all can probably experience from hearing other people's dreams, you hear symbols that you never dreamt before, and not to say I've never dreamt of a porch, but I never really even tried to attempt to interpret a dream if I did dream of a porch. But through also interpreting other people's dreams, you start to come across new symbols. And so I'm sharing all of this just to say I touched on it a little bit in in the dream interpretation masterclass when I was going over how this is a language, and when we work to understand the foundation of the language of it being form and function, then we can address and understand any symbol that we come across, even if it's one that we don't know. So I'm sharing all of this just to preface this interpretation of a porch. What is the form? The form is a porch. What is the function? What's the function of a porch?
You asking me that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or anybody. What's the function of a
Hmm.
porch?
The function of a porch. Man, it has so many functions, but I guess the main
Yeah,
one is to hold things and hold people onto it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's like a space to welcome people without actually welcoming them all the way into the home. It's like a
It is
space
true.
for people to be at the door, but not yet fully enter into. And so how does that relate to the consciousness? Well, a porch is only defined by the home. Without a home or a building, you can't really have the definition of a porch. We have to understand, the home building like that. It's, a state of mind. And so the porch is like a space that is attached to a specific state of mind, but not yet all the way in there. Like, for example, rage. Rage being enraged is a state of mind, right? But
Yeah.
angry, being angry is not quite, it's attached to enraged, but it's not quite in there all the way. Being upset. Being upset is attached to being angry, but it's not quite in there all the way. You're at the door. You're knocking at the door. When you're upset, you're knocking at the door being angry. When you're angry, you're knocking at the door being, enraged. It doesn't sound like that's what this dream is, but you have to identify that place. I'm just kind of giving an example to help you to see like what a porch represent. And so it's very simple by doing it that same way. What's the form? What's the function? Okay, how does that function relate to the mind? And so did everybody follow along with that? Does anybody have any questions or a little unclear about something or wanting to go deeper on a part of that? Okay, makes sense. Good, good, beautiful. I just like to make sure, sometimes the further along I go, the harder it is for me to like continue to hold the perspective of keeping things simple. Or like, so yeah, I just have to double check and make sure that I explain things properly without explaining in a deeper way. But so with this dream, what I see is the porch is very important, but for us to really identify do you know, was it your home?
Yes,
Okay. All right. And so your niece, how old is your niece?
I'm 9.
9. Okay. So not quite a child, but not
Mm-hmm.
quite, a teenager or young adult either. So it's like, a child is like a developing aspect, some new part of yourself that you're building, but it's developing into something. It's got its own legs. You can leave your niece alone by herself and she'll be fine. She can walk into the kitchen, get her something to drink, get her a little snack, go to sleep when she
Mm-hmm.
needs to, wake herself up, brush her teeth. But she still needs guidance. She still needs direction. She still needs education. She still needs to learn how to be a human. And then but it's developing into a young adult who can, fully do things on their own, or and then into adulthood where you can then apply what you're learning. And so um what's interesting is she's feeding the dog with water inside of the bowl, but the water's going and getting all over the place. And you're teaching her about
Mm-hmm.
focus and everything. And what you were really describing there about that, about like force and energy and things, is related to willpower, utilizing your willpower. And it's funny because as soon as you said what she was trying to do, my first thought was, I wonder how long it's been since Kez has done a sat down and done an actual concentration exercise versus, implementing your concentration throughout the day and actual, disciplined exercise of concentration, because that's what I, you have to interpret what your niece represents for you. Um, but just the context of the dream and everything and kind of where you're at, um, it just seems like it's kind of represents like the spiritually disciplined part of yourself, and just
Mm-hmm.
giving you're learning how to teach yourself, you're learning how to mentor yourself, you're learning how to be your own teacher and guide. And one of the things is you're saying, hey, you need to implement more willpower, you need to implement more concentration, because what it is water, right? So it's focused, life experiences. You need to
Mm-hmm.
utilize your will more and concentrate more on the images that you do want to experience, so that your mind isn't all over the place causing a mess. Because if your mind's all over the place of, oh, I want to achieve this, so you're imaging what you do want, but then all of a sudden these doubts and worries and fears come in. It's like, well, maybe I can't do this, maybe this will happen, what if this happens, I don't want this to happen. You're kind of all over the place, not really focused, and so it's going to make a mess of things because you're going to manifest a interpolation of all of those things, and it's going to come out not exactly how you are truly desiring for it to. So that's kind of what I see.
Okay. Okay. I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah,
Hmm. I'm just trying to think about how this is relative to me right now.
yeah.
I mean, I can see one way, trying to think of more, but yeah.
Well, we'll start with the one way. What's the one way, if you don't mind sharing? I mean, if you do, just let us know. It's no problem.
Yeah, the one way is I started a challenge about 2 days ago that I planned on starting in the summer, and I
Mm-hmm.
call it the 40 Days of Ego Mastery. And in this challenge, it consists of 4 stages. The first one is the traumatic, the second one is the impulsive, the third one is the dynamic, and the fourth one is the neutral. And each 10 days, I do a 3 day fast. And then while I'm fasting and also while during the challenges, I work specifically in those 10 days. And whichever part I'm on, I use that to furthermore control my ego
Mm-hmm.
and heal myself. So, like, at a traumatic level, I will be looking at traumas that I've still yet to heal from. And mostly I'm just observing every single action that I take and try to get down to the roots of why I'm doing this, like
Mhm.
physical habits.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then that's
Wow.
just what I've been doing.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. That is
Mhm.
amazing. Tremendous self-awareness. You're definitely going on a deeper journey. Yeah, guiding yourself, man. Guiding yourself, becoming your own guide, your own teacher, your own mentor is awesome. Beautiful. If y'all remember from the first email, that's exactly what I said. A year from now, if you still a mentee a year from now, then I have failed or we have failed, because the whole purpose is for you to learn how to be your own teacher, to become so self-aware, not like so self-aware, like, oh, but reach a level of self-awareness to where you can assess, okay, this is what I need to focus on next, and have certain metaphysical tools and understandings to then be able to decipher and break down and know what steps to take to achieve it and overcome it. So it's awesome, man. It's beautiful. It's great to hear.
Thank you.
You said you started
Thank
two
you.
days ago?
Yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What are you learning? What are you learning about yourself so far?
Let's see. I'd say so far, basically the main thing that I've learned is I get certain urges, like only if I were to go inside of the kitchen is when I'll think about eating certain things. Like
Mm-hmm.
like how do I put this? You probably already get that part. But I only get certain urges if I go and type into the type of environment in which I would receive those. And so I've learned that the easiest way to not get into that position is to go out of that environment and literally turn this experience into a concentration exercise. Every
Mm-hmm.
time my attention goes on what I don't want it to, shift it back to what I do want it to. And every single
Nice.
time I've done that, it worked perfectly.
Nice. Nice.
So that's what I'm trying to incorporate with everything instead of
Yeah.
just urges to
Yeah.
eat things. So there's
Beautiful.
that
Beautiful.
huge key.
Yeah. But the body and the physical, that's what's on the surface. So as you dig deeper, you have to, if you're trying to dig a hole, the first thing you have to dig up is the surface. So that's amazing that you're gaining understandings from that and then applying it on this deeper level.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice. That's a great dream, man.
Mm, hmm do I have any other dreams? God dang it, Ghost. Shh.
Go, Ghost trying to talk about his dream.
Hold on.
I have a question.
Yeah, I have an answer. Might
What
not be
does
the
it
right.
mean? What does it mean in the dream, if you dream of like your child being kidnapped?
Okay. What would a child represent?
Um, not sure.
Okay. What's a person?
Um, it's myself, right?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Absolutely. So people are like one thing that I really harp on to help people remember, not really harp on, but repeat repeatedly, is people will represent the different characteristics of your personality. The
Mm-hmm.
characters in your dream are the characteristics. The persons within the dream are the different parts of your own personality. Like everybody in your life, everybody's different. Yeah, a lot of people are similar. Like your closest friends, you guys are all kind of similar. That's why you're friends. You've attracted together and grouped together. But you're also so very different and unique. This friend you see in this way. This friend you see in this way. Like if I said, does anyone here know someone who's just very loyal? You know somebody who's loyal?
Mm, yes.
Okay, what's their name?
I was really about to be funny and be like my dog.
But no, that makes sense because that's often what a dog will represent for people because that's how they see it. But that's like like when you dream of that, it's like how you're just habitually loyal versus like consciously being loyal to yourself. Okay, what about Goofy? You know anybody who's Goofy?
Hmm.
Okay, what's their name?
John.
John. Okay, so whenever John shows up in your dream, it's probably your subconscious mind trying to show you how you're Goofy, because you can be Goofy, right?
Sometimes, yes. Hmm.
Yeah, sometimes you can be Goofy if you want to. So that's an aspect of your personality, characteristic. What about spiteful? You know anybody who's spiteful?
Hmm.
Okay, what's their name?
Sierra.
Sierra. Yes, Sierra, man. Um, so so Sierra, she represents spiteful, being spiteful. So if you ever were acting spiteful in some way, then Sierra might show up in your dreams so that your subconscious mind can show you something about that aspect of your personality. Because all of us can be spiteful. I can be spiteful. You can be spiteful. We might not be that way, but we're capable of it. We
Hmm.
have it within us. And so so if people are all these different characteristics, you know, the form of a child is what? We kind of touched on a little bit already. So like
Um,
Sierra and John are like full grown adults, right?
one of them. The other
Oh,
one's a
okay,
child.
okay.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I shouldn't have assumed. So they're still developing, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So like what's a characteristic of your own personality that you're still developing?
Mm, I would say, I think consistency, maybe.
Consistency? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Talk about that last
I think I'm getting better.
time. Okay. Has there been any way and when did you have this dream?
Um, okay, so I was asking about somebody else's dream, but I
Oh, okay.
have had a dream
Okay.
about kidnapping before, but I was the one being
Gotcha.
kidnapped and I was under the bed.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, let's start with let's stick with the first dream, then we can cut back to this one, this new one,
Okay.
you being kidnapped. Um, and maybe you might get there before we even get there after just viewing this first one. So let's just stick with consistency, okay? Because that's a child within yourself that you're developing. You're continuing to guide and understand what it means, to be consistent and stick with something and see it through to fruition. But maybe you didn't have this dream, so if this, I'm not saying that this is something that's happened to you, but um, if you were to have this dream, then something like this may have happened in your life where through being consistent, something comes up. And even though you're like working to be consistent, there's a moment where you just like throw it out the window. And it's like, maybe being consistent with like being very disciplined. You're writing down your dreams every day and things, and then there comes a moment where you don't remember a dream one morning, and then the next morning you don't remember your dream, and so then you don't even write down the night before. Um, I will remember my dreams. You kind of become inconsistent with it, kind of get knocked off track. Now, this consistency that you've built within yourself, it's not like it's killed off, but it's kind of been removed, right? It's something in your life has kind of that you feel like you've been forced to kind of take it away. So or actually, better yet, let's say like a diet. Maybe you're trying to be consistent in your new eating habits, right? It's like I'm wanting to eat more whole foods, less processed foods and things. But then the holidays come up, it's Easter, and you go and eat all type of sweets and little candies and other things and have the little family meal. And then the next day it's harder to stay consistent and get back on track with what you were on. And then here it is a week later and you've kind of like lost your discipline and your consistency has kind of been taken away from you.
Mhm.
I mean, you've caused it to happen, but the experiences within your environment kind of felt like it forced you into this situation. And so now you have
Mhm.
to, you have to find it. You have to rediscover it. So that's like this part of yourself that's developing still being kidnapped. So for this person, they one would have to identify this child, um, and then be able to reflect and identify, you know, whatever it is that they've been developing and working on within themselves. How have they felt that that's been taken away from them in some way? And
Okay.
if they know the child, that will help give them insight into what part of themselves it's speaking to, because like we said earlier, when you think of this person or when you think of this characteristic, what person comes to mind? Well, you just do
Mhm.
the reverse. When you think of this child, what's the main characteristic you see in them? Energized, you know, um, laid back and very inward and introspective. That's how I was just having lunch with my aunt, like my great aunt, like a year or two ago. I hadn't seen her in years, like since I was like a teenager. And she was telling my friend that I was with how um, like she always knew I was a heavy thinker because as a child I would just sit there and observe and watch everybody and watch everything going on. So just like some children just are inward, but or is this child, very exuberant and excited about things, or spiteful. This child is spiteful and just a little badass kid. Who knows? But this person
Mhm.
would have to identify that. But the child itself will help give insight into into that, that part of themselves that it's talking about.
Okay. So now with the dream with myself, I
Mhm.
was just sitting on my bed one day and I remember the dream, but the dream was a dream that I would have all the time as a child.
Mm,
And I would dream
okay.
that I was, I've been kidnapped and I
Mhm.
was in this one particular dream, I was up under the bed. Now, sometimes I
Mhm.
would dream that I would be kidnapped and nobody would be there, but it was like I was just stuck, wherever
Mhm.
I was.
Yeah, yeah. And so in that then, whenever you have those dreams, it's just reflecting how you feel like kind of like you've been obstructed in your own like growth and understanding because like the bed represents assimilation, being able to kind of break down and understand what's been happening to you in your life. You know what I mean? To be able to really assimilate things and assimilate the life experiences you've been having. And so hiding under the bed because you're afraid you'll be kidnapped is just ways in which you were kind of probably afraid to change and grow and feel like different parts of your environment at the time that you like at the specific time that you had that specific dream each time, um something in your environment feeling like it was inhibiting your free flowing growth and evolution as an individual, as a soul, as a person.
Mm.
Yeah. So maybe it was like days you got ass whooping or something. I don't know. Yeah, I got a lot of ass whoopings when I was a kid.
I didn't. I
No?
didn't. I was a good kid.
Okay. I got a lot. My mom she used to have this dowel rod she would get from Lowe's. It was probably bigger than this big around. That's what she used to whoop us.
Damn.
We went through like 6 of them, and all of them broke on me. I don't know if it was just because I was getting more whoopings or the whoopings I was getting were more intense than anybody else. Who knows? But yeah, it was good. Taught me discipline. Kept me out of trouble growing up, being older. Yeah, good, good. Those are good dreams. Anyone else have anything to share? We can. dive into this here.
Well, I had one thing while we was
Okay.
talking about what was it called? Oh yeah, the candle exercise.
Yeah, yeah.
Before I shared, there's something I understood about that a while ago when I was still doing it as frequently, but
Mhm.
it was that I am my awareness and I am beyond my awareness. That's just something that I picked up.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you that and ask you, what would that mean to you if I just said that to you?
Well, first I would ask you, what do you understand awareness to be?
I understand awareness as my consciousness. What am I consciously aware of and what I'm conscious of?
Mhm. So if it's something that your consciousness is being able to be conscious of, then it's different from the consciousness, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So you saying you are greater than your awareness, your true essence is something beyond your awareness, then you're starting to understand your true essence of consciousness. You know,
Yes.
your consciousness, like being aware of something, is like being able to observe something, see, hear, feel, taste it. But the observation is not you; it's the activity. You are the observer. So
That's
whatever it is, if you are able to observe it, if you are able to be aware of it, then that is not your consciousness. That is not the true you. My body, I can be aware of my body. I can observe my body, not my
mhm.
body. I can observe my emotions, not my emotions. I can observe my mind. I'm not my mind. I can observe my soul. I'm not my soul. I can observe my astral body. I'm not my astral body. I can be aware of these things. So my awareness of them means that that is not me, my true self, consciousness.
Okay. Okay. There's a lot to understand in what you just said. Just trying to break it down a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, break it down as much as you can and just run with it in your future experiences, and you'll continue to understand it deeper through those experiences.
Okay. I'm trying to remember some other things I was trying to say before I hopped on here. Oh yeah. Do you know what a pressure washer might represent in a dream? I feel like I
Pressure
already know.
washer. Wow. You had a pressure washer in a dream?
Yeah, the one I was just telling you about with my niece.
Oh, that was a pressure washer she had? I was thinking it was coming out of a water bottle.
At first, it was coming out of water hose, but then when I was
Oh,
showing
water
her the
hose. Gotcha.
example on how you can control it, it became
Yeah.
a pressure washer.
Nice. As soon as you said, that's why I was like you had a pressure washer in a dream, because it was in perfect synchronicity with that dream. So it's no wonder that it came out of that dream. So that is definitely focus and concentration, because what is a pressure washer, right? How does a regular water hose turn into a pressure washer? Have you ever used a pressure washer before?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So all you're doing is hooking it up to the regular hose, right?
Yep.
So how does that turn into a pressure washer?
Well, by the wait, pressure washer. I'll just say by the machine pressurizing the water. by its focusing it to a single point to make it be more powerful.
Exactly. Exactly. The tip, pressure washers have all type of different tips. One to make it flat, one to make it streamlined, but each one gets smaller and smaller and smaller to make it more and more pressure, right? And so that
Uh-huh.
smaller point of focus, like a water hose is gonna be this big. The water's coming out this big, coming out. But you can, I mean, even us as kids, you put your thumb over top of it, right? And it makes it a lot harder. Makes it your own. You make your
Mm-hmm.
own pressure washer just by putting your thumb over it, right? And so you make that point of exit so much smaller, so that focus. So it's all about focus. So that's what a pressure washer is going to represent. Focusing and with laser focus your life experiences for a purpose, right? Because you don't just put a pressure washer on there and just let the hose run. No, you have a purpose for it.
Mm-hmm.
A hose is going to represent purpose, because you have a purpose for your hose. It has multiple purposes. You can drink from it. You can water your lawn. You can water the garden. You can wash the driveway off. You can put a pressure washer on there and wash off the dust and dirt. You can just put it in a sprinkler and cool yourself off. You can fill up a pool, fill up a bucket, fill up a lake. You have a man-made pond, just throw a hose in there, turn it on, boom, now you have a pond. I mean, there's all type of purposes for a hose. So just like hands and rope, it's going to represent purpose. And so yeah, so having a focused purpose for your life experiences. That's what that's going to represent.
Oh, that makes so much sense. With
Yeah,
the 40 days of ego mastery, that just makes so much sense
exactly.
now.
Exactly.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, hey, don't thank me, man. Thank yourself. You're the one doing it. You're the one doing it. That's awesome.
I forgot to say thank you, Marquez, this time. Thank you, Marquez.
Yeah, gratitude. That is a beautiful dream, man. All right, well, let's jump into these other dreams. Share screen. Oh, without further ado, let's get right to it. Okay, this is yeah, let's see. There's some. Okay, I already did that. Okay, sorry. Anything else here? Okay, let me see. What does 222 represent? Okay, let's see what y'all said first. 2 represents duality, absolutely. Reduced to a single digit is 6, which is intuition, absolutely. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Is that it? What happened if 0 instead? Okay. Let's get to all these numbers here, okay? All right, so yeah. Okay, let's start with the first one. So yes, 2 does represent duality, and 6 represents intuition. And so when you put both of those together, the duality and the intuition, what is duality? Everything is dual. Duality is, like whenever 2s come up for me and duality comes up, the very first duality that I primarily look at is the inner and the outer, the conscious and the subconscious, the body and the soul. And so what's intuition? Intuition is the power of the subconscious mind. And so what is the dual nature of intuition? There's a giving and a receiving, feeding into your intuitive sense, as well as receiving from your intuitive sense. So like what I mean receiving from your intuitive sense, we all kind of understand that, receiving your intuitive thoughts and being receptive to your intuitive subconscious mind, but also feeding into that. What that means is doing different things that are strengthening and building your intuition and cultivating a deeper relationship with your subconscious mind to build your intuition. Understanding building the understandings from your life experiences, the life lessons that you're learning from your life experiences, and really building permanent understandings that you'll feed into your soul, which is going to increase that storehouse of wisdom, which is what your intuition pulls from. You know, intuition really is your direct grasp of truth. And it's you know, you don't really have any reason to know that it's true, but you do because you're pulling from that source of wisdom that you've been building through lifetimes. And so feeding into your intuition is learning from your life experiences and understanding, building understandings from the lessons that you're learning in your life experiences, and then feeding that into your soul. That's how you're going to continue to strengthen and grow and build your intuition, as well as like intuitive exercises, you know, strengthening your sense of your intuition, your perception and awareness, being able to have a greater awareness of your intuition, you know, that as well. But yeah. Any questions on that? Or thoughts on that, or things you want to share? All right. Right, let's jump to this other number, then we'll come back up to this other part. Okay, what happens if the 0 comes before a number instead of being 200 or 100? Oh, wait, I think I did read this. 200 or 100, it's 001 or 002. Does it still give it power? Or it only applies if the 0 in after is after? For me, when it's 001 or 02, I just ignore the 0 if it's before the number, but when it's in front of it, like 120, that's when it adds power, because then it's a higher number. Exactly. That is exactly true. So that's why I didn't really mention anything on it when I saw it, because yeah, you hit it right on the nose, Cass. That's exactly true, because when you look at it, 120 is a different number than 001 and 002. You know, 001, 0000001, 01, all of those are the same number, you know, but 10, 10000, 1000000, and 100, those are all different numbers, you know. But there is still a reason that those zeros are showing up. So I would suggest just looking at where they're showing up, why they're showing up, and then see what is the difference. Why would, you know, my subconscious mind present this number like this, like 001 instead of just one, or 02 instead of just two? Or if it's while you're awake, you know, why is the universe, you know, bringing this number to me in this way, 001 instead of one? You know, what would be the significance of that, with me understanding that 0 represents, you know, power to a greater power, you know, this individuality to a greater power. Well, the way I would look at it is whatever way it's showing up, see it as an opportunity to move into a greater power with that number. Not necessarily that greater power, it's on a higher level already, but there's an opportunity to move into that. Does that make sense? All right, I'm guessing so. There are no objections or inquiries. All right, guys, I'm obsessed with what's going on in Ohio. I'm not. That's why I left. No, I'm playing. Also have seen videos of 2 or 3 trains derailing, also transposing chemicals. This is insane. It's like everyone has gone silent, blind, and asleep. Nobody is aware. Nobody is talking about it. Those people are suffering from all sorts of symptoms while they are scared for their lives. Media and government say everything is under control when it's clearly not. Ohio River meets Mississippi River, which then meets Gulf of Mexico, then Atlantic Ocean. Man, she got a lot of geography from someone from Europe, for someone from Europe. This spillage will travel fast via river, less than a month. Imagine the world, end of the world. There are earthquakes in Turkey. Actually, today or yesterday has been another one. There are disasters everywhere in just a matter of days or weeks. I'm honestly worried something is going on. Something has been going on. I want your opinion on this, Tarak, because this is insane. Yeah, something has been going on. It's been going on for a long time, generations now. And it's just, so we as humans are beginning to overpopulate the earth at the rate that we are growing. And the way that our societies are set up, we are consuming the earth's resources far too fast. Now, nature will be just fine. Um, Nature will find a way to continue to replicate things, although there is a reality that we could destroy the planet, just as Mars was destroyed. That planet was populated and now it's destroyed. But there are the institutions that are in control of this planet feel that the best way is to try to control the population through different means and different avenues. And so, not anything to be scared of, not anything to be frightened of, not anything to be angry about, because there's not really anything that we can do about it, just something to be aware of. And with that understanding, you know, continue to navigate through things. I mean, I'm right here in Louisville, just south of where that happened. It's like 2 cities, 3 cities from where that happened. So it's I mean, it's gonna affect us in a way, but not anything I'm afraid of. Just be mindful of and continue to navigate through life accordingly. So that's what I would suggest. And you'll note, and the more you understand this, then the more you'll see it. One, they put it in TV and shows and movies and tell us that this is what they're going to be doing, and then you'll start to see it more play out in life. And so as these major atrocities or disasters or things play out, whether it seems like it's a natural disaster or some planned event, because like you said, there were like 2 or 3 derailings all at once, and all of them carrying chemicals. So it's like it's no coincidence that that hasn't happened in ages, and then all of a sudden happens 3 times in a week. That's yeah. Anyways, but it's nothing. Like I said, it's nothing to be frightened of. Just continue to navigate, continue to understand yourself. I mean, if you die, then you'll just have an opportunity to come back again, and continue learning in a new life. So nothing to really be concerned. That's so. All of that is my opinion. So I do share a lot of knowledge on here, and a lot of a few other things that are like beliefs, but I try to delineate between the two for you of what I'm sharing as knowledge and what I'm sharing as things that I have a strong belief on. And this is just like, as you asked, my opinion. So that's why you'll never hear me really asking different or talking a lot about these kind of things. I do have a lot of information on it, not necessarily knowledge. I haven't really experienced firsthand some of these things, but I do have a lot of information on these subjects. So started out studying those for 10 years or so. But yeah, that is my opinion. So take it with a grain of salt. But yeah. All right. Any thoughts or questions on that? I can talk about those things just as long as I could, metaphysical things. All right. If you believe in angel numbers, you can Google the meaning. I mean, you probably get like 20 different answers. True. You just usually find many different meanings. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know which site would be a reliable source. Oh yeah, I think I did. Did I say something on this? Oh, maybe I did. Okay, so yeah, with the numbers, um, yeah, understanding the numbers and how to break them down is in the Dream Interpretation Masterclass. Yeah, exactly. So you can interpret your life experiences just like dreams. So that's what I would suggest with that. Um, is when you're trying to understand the numbers that you're seeing in your life, use the understanding of numbers through the universal language. All right. So I don't trust other sources. Thanks. Is there next? Okay, I answered that. Yeah. All right, I think that's everything for this section. We'll jump on to dreams. Okay, excellent. All right. Dreams. So let's see. All right. So here we go. Teeth falling out could be related. Where's that? Keith falling. Okay. I just took a nap and I don't know if this is a dream or not. Let's see. I don't think I did. Just took a nap. Okay, nope, nope. All right. All right. So Dee says, I just took a nap and I don't know if this was a dream or not because it felt like I was awake and just thinking as my mind kept running with all sorts in my head. But I was on a street in the neighborhood where I used to live when I was a child. I was wearing platform wedges, black skirt, and a white shirt, but it was transparent. Again, she was like very um, descriptive and focused upon the clothing within the dream. So a lot of attention on how she expresses herself, expresses her thoughts and emotions. And I was hand in hand with a little girl. I wanted people to believe it was my daughter, but in my mind, what was it can't be my daughter because I don't have a daughter. But I was proud and I liked the girl. I remember we were walking in slow motion like we were in a movie and we were posing. On the left side, across the street, there was two men. I knew them, but I did not speak to them nor said hi, as I was never close to them. But I knew them from the street. They were walking towards us, or they were watching towards us. And at some point, we were getting close to some people when I noticed my boobs showing through the shirt. I rearranged my shirt and we turned around. We were heading towards my previous home where I used to live in Romania when I was young. We went to the back of the block and there was a big van parked there. I saw on the street a plastic container and I was wondering if I should take it to give it to my mom, but I didn't. And that was all. Oh wow, okay. So the main well first just what do you all see in this dream? What are some different things that you all see in this dream, either like the big picture or just one symbol? What's from you all your all's growing understanding of dreams and dream interpretation and the universal language of the mind? Maybe everybody at least throw out one symbol. Let's see.
For me, I was just barely paying attention to it, so only heard a couple of parts of it. Like
Okay.
for the first part, the beginning of it, and I think you said it's how on her dream she had a kid. Well, not had a kid, but there's a kid,
Yeah.
and people were trying to say it was hers, and in her mind it wasn't, but she was still proud of the kid. And
Hmm.
also there was the two guys that just was just inside of my head. There was two guys, and I wasn't paying attention to the rest after that. But the two guys, I
Okay,
was
yeah.
thinking two that represent duality, like you was saying. So then I was
Hmm.
thinking of listing different ways how that can represent how yeah, just how different ways that can represent. And for the kid, I can kind of correlate that in there as new male aspects and how that can represent with your thoughts and your actions about, not about, with those aspects or characteristics.
Hmm. Hmm. Nice. Okay. Anyone else see any symbols that they recognize or ones that maybe they don't know? Curious what it means.
I want to know what the van represents.
The van, yes. Okay. So the van is the form. What's the function of a van?
To transport you to your destination.
Exactly. Exactly. And so how does that relate to the consciousness? What vehicle does the consciousness use to reach your destinations in life, your goals in life, your body, right?
Hmm.
So a van or a car or a truck, um, you know, will represent your physical body, your physical life. And so because that's the vehicle that your consciousness uses to reach your goals in life. If it was like a bus or a plane or a large ship, that carries lots of people, then that would represent, like an organization in your life, like a job or a school or a social group, you know, some sort of organization that transports lots of people to a common destination, a common goal. Nice.
I would say about her seeing like the plastic container in the street. I seen that as like pollution. And
Mhm.
then she was wondering if she should take it to her mom, like her higher self. So like
Mhm.
she's being able to like to think about and how you say that word, differentiate in between something that's like
Yeah.
good and not good,
Yeah.
you know?
Differentiate. Yeah. You
Yeah.
got it. Nice. So what would, if everything is a part of you and your consciousness, what would the plastic container be? Like you said, it's pollution, right? So what would it represent?
Maybe like a negative thought or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like a thought that needs to be discarded of, that's something that's
Mhm.
polluting your mind, that you need to, that's waste, you need to let it go. You need to discard of it appropriately, and so exactly what you touched on, needing to, should I take it to my mom, is kind of seeing that thought and observing it like, this doesn't belong here. I shouldn't be thinking about this. Is it in alignment with my purpose, my soul's purpose? I don't know, you know, I'm not going to do it. And then ultimately, kind of contemplating on it, but never actually getting to the point of yet doing something about it. But that's the very end of the dream, so who knows what she did the very next day. Maybe she did decide to do something about it the next day. So if we look at the big picture of this dream, we see that um, there's motion. She's moving along the street. And so anytime you're actually like going somewhere, because sometimes your dreams, you're just like standing around doing stuff in one place. But this one, she's going somewhere. And so anytime there's movement like that in a dream, the main thing you want to look at is this dream displaying something where I'm going towards something, or am I trying to leave and move away from something? And in this dream, she's going towards something. So she's putting in effort to reach her goals and her destination, and so that's the main thing in this dream. But through that, there is this girl, which is a common theme for today, children and kids. And so, they represent a developing aspect, some part of herself that she is, developing and building and cultivating, actively working to cultivate and produce within herself. And there's like ownership there, like not like ownership, like I own this child, but like, she is like, I have created this, even though she's kind of semi-lucid here because she's a little aware of her waking life. Like, wait, I don't have kids, but I know that this is my child. I'm very proud of this child. I really like this little girl, and I am very proud to be her parent. I'm proud of myself for what I've created. From where I was and where I'm at today, I'm very proud of who I'm developing into. And so that's amazing. And then yeah, there's like two guys across the street that are watching her. um she was kind of walking in slow motion like they were in a movie. um and she doesn't really speak to him, so a lot of this is kind of things she's just noticing along the way. But then the boo popping out, like being naked represents honesty, right? And a woman's breast is all about nurturing. That the whole function of a breast is to be able to nurture a child when it's born. So everything in the dream is about yourself. So it's like an understanding that as you're moving forward and developing more into who you're wanting to become, be honest with yourself, and that honesty is going to be very nurturing towards your growth. Don't forget to nurture yourself, and be gentle with yourself, be kind with yourself, and continue to provide yourself with the proper nutrients so that you can grow and develop accordingly and appropriately. And so that's kind of the main things, as well as then ultimately the kind of pollution, and any pollution within your mind, any thoughts that you realize are not in alignment with who you want to become, what you want to experience. It's pollution, and it needs to be discarded of appropriately. That's an amazing dream. Amazing dream. I think I say that after every dream. Yeah. But they are, I love them. All right. Any other thoughts or anything or questions on that dream? A little chat box. There's a blizzard hitting Southern California today. Shoot, a blizzard too? Hey.
Yeah, I was saying that when she was talking about the earthquakes and all that, because they've
Oh
never had
yeah,
blizzard warning.
yeah. A blizzard, man. That's wild. I mean, we get them like once a year, but
Mm.
I'm sure it's just a light dusting that you guys are calling a blizzard. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't mind me. All right. So the next one, Vibrania Vi says, I remember these two events from last night's dreams, and I don't know what they could hint towards meaning. One, I swam in a pool on a cold day, and the cold water gave me the feeling of being energized. Ha. Two, someone took me to a community room that had lots of pro hobby stuff, including a woodworking area that I could play in. Wow. They said it had been here and is included, but I don't know what that means. I felt them showing me how to do my hobby stuff for free while I'm healing. Jeez, this sounds nuts now that I read my words. All right. So yeah, what are some things you all see in this stream? Just maybe like one, even just one small thing. Like, oh, this symbol, I know this symbol. Or maybe okay. So a pool is what? Water, right? But it's not just like I mean, I'm just kind of assuming here, but it's not just a natural pool of water. Oh, sorry, but like a man-made pool. So water represents our life experiences, right? Well, a pool, the function of a pool, it's uh, so that we can enjoy the water, right? Like, I mean, you can go and like you can get into a tub, you can, swim across a river, but those aren't really the same as like a pool. Pool is a very leisure thing, and so its purpose is for enjoyment. So swimming in a pool in a dream is going to represent like how you have been constructing your life experiences in order to enjoy them, wanting to enjoy your life experiences. And depending on how the context of the dream, maybe you have been enjoying them, or maybe you haven't. Maybe something that was supposed to, like if she said, I swam in a pool and then, you know, these buffalo came and ran through the pool party and trampled on everything and everybody took off running. So it's like, you had this thing that was supposed to be fun and enjoying and relaxing, and it became like chaotic and interrupted. So maybe like the day before you were wanting to just have a nice relaxing day at the park, but then it rained and the rain put a damper on your mood and then it kind of made you upset, grouchy the rest of the day. That's not what happened here, but just kind of giving you more context to understand kind of like a pool. Different ways that it can show up in a dream, not just this way. But for her dream, she said, I swam in a pool on a cold day, and the cold water gave me the feeling of being energized. So, I mean, it's pretty like self-explanatory. Really, just got to understand the pool. So in through the way that she was enjoying her life experiences the day before she had this dream, it was providing a lot of life force. She was more energetic. She was being fed. She had more life. She was cultivating and generating more energy, life force through just the mere fact of like enjoying the experiences that she was having. So second was someone took me to a community room that had lots of pro hobby stuff, including a woodworking area that I could play in. So like when we talk about creation in a dream, we're most like as far as like sex creating, but that's creation of like creating a new aspect of yourself. Things that you are like creating, like evolving into, creating a new Tarak. That's different than your creativity. You know what I mean? And so creating like creation and creating a new aspect is just different than your creativity. Like this woodworking and this like hobby center is all about talking about your creativity. And so, the day before or 2 days before she had this dream, there was something that was stimulating her creativity. And it was enjoyable. It was fun. It was familiar yet new, is what it kind of sounds like. That's kind of the feel I get from this. Like it was like this woodworking area that she could play in. They said it's been here and is included. And so like the whole why would they need to tell you like this has been here the whole time? And it's because it's like something that's been familiar but kind of like falling to the wayside. It's reintroduced. So that's why I get that kind of like explaining why I got that kind of feel from it. Because that could have been left out. The dream didn't have to portray that at all, but it did for a reason. So, uh, putting both of those together, it would seem that she is stimulating more of her own creativity, and it is enjoyable. And it also is cultivating more life force energy and more energy throughout the day to be able to utilize. So it's an amazing dream. Anybody have any thoughts or questions on that dream? Hey, sir. So, who's this? Either way, you're welcome. Probably just a different name I don't recognize. All right. So yeah, Sav, do you have any recent dreams or exercises that you've been working on or experiences, spiritual experiences you want to share or anything?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I haven't been in the meetings in a while. That's probably why you don't
That's okay.
recognize the name.
All
But
right.
yeah, I actually had an interesting dream last night
Yeah.
where basically there was like a rainbow coming out of the sky, like it basically into the ground.
Hmm.
And I don't even know exactly where I was. I was like outside somewhere. And like when I would like touch the rainbow,
Yeah.
like, I just had, like, this, like, insane feeling, like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was basically
Yeah.
just, like, I was just all tingly and, like, just kinda, like there was definitely, like, some type of energy in the rainbow when I touched it.
Nice. Nice.
Would
That's
you say
awesome.
there's, like,
That's
any
great.
type of meaning behind that?
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on one second. I accidentally turned off my Bluetooth. Yeah, there's definitely a meaning in that. A great one. It's a great symbol. So, um, real quick. So just so I kind of have an understanding of kind of where you're at. Uh, have you gone through the dream interpretation masterclass?
I have not, but I would like to.
Okay, yeah, no problem. All right. Sorry, accidentally turned off.
You're good.
There we go. All right, I'm back in. Okay, so I just wanted to know kind of like how much to explain, um, like how in depth. So our dreams are messages to us from our inner selves. When we go to sleep at night, our actually, hold on one second. All right, thank you. So, a little further. All right. All right, everybody can see this?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So without going like too deep into explaining this, week one of the Dream Interpretation Masterclass is fully dedicated to breaking all of this down. The whole entire first video is all about understanding this further. So, our conscious mind is the mind that our physical body uses. Our subconscious mind is the mind that our soul uses. And the superconscious mind is the mind that our spirit uses. So when we're dreaming at night, our consciousness shifts from the physical body into our astral body. And most of us are usually dreaming in one of these two levels, usually the lower astral. If you're dreaming in black and white, you're dreaming in the emotional level. But most of the time, people are dreaming in the lower astral, like 90% of the time. And so when you go into your dreams, and you're looking around at everything, well, if you're not in the physical realm, looking around at everything that's going on in the physical outside of yourself, you closed your eyes and you went within. So you're now going within yourself and you're looking around at the environment within yourself. So everything you're looking around at is all you, aspects of you, all a part of your own consciousness. So the people, places, and things are all, parts of your own consciousness, and all you, represent you. So the rainbow is you, the what you were touching, you, the different people in your dreams are you. Yeah, sometimes you can have visitation dreams with people, past loved ones who have passed away and come back. Or all of us can meet up in a dream and visitation dream in that way. We can, agree to meet up somewhere at a certain point in space and time. But anyways, not to get too deep into things, just kind of explaining that to give you kind of an understanding of the dreams a little bit more. And then when we understand the language of the mind, which is the language of images, then we can understand what's going on and occurring within our mind. So our dreams are reflecting to us. We're able, through understanding our dreams, we can understand how we've been using our mind the last few days. That's why I always say, dream interpretation is the #1 tool for self-awareness, because it's going to be continual, just like your life is continual. It's going to be the most up-to-date information, and it's going to be all about you and exactly what's going on within yourself. So for you, when did you have this dream?
This was last night.
Oh, wow, last night's dream.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So a rainbow is so with dreams, and understand the language of the dream, the way that it is structured is through form and function. What is the form? What is its function? And how does that then relate to the consciousness? Like, for example, one we went over earlier is a car. A car is the form. It's a vehicle, it's the form. Its function is to transport us to our goals and destination, right? Well, how does that relate to the consciousness? Well, the consciousness uses our physical body and our physical life to reach our goals in life and our destination where we're trying to go in life. And so, that's kind of how you would break that down. Well, a rainbow is the form, and a rainbow, to really understand a rainbow, because a rainbow is just like the full spectrum of colors through light. And so through the, and it's kind of has to go through some sort of prism of some kind to be able to be displayed. And so what is light? Well, light is the form. What's the function of light? Well, the function of light provides us awareness. You go into a room, why do you turn on the light? What's the function of that light? You turn on that light so you can be aware of what's going on and what you're doing, where you're at, and so you can move around. Because if you turned off the light, you wouldn't be aware of anything. So light represents awareness. Well, the full spectrum of colors from the rainbow is going to represent full awareness. And so there is a way in which, I'm not sure, what you're doing recently, or what you've been experiencing recently, or what kind of disciplines or exercises you may have been doing, or just the way that you've been approaching life in order to progress and grow, spiritually or consciously. But there is something that you have been doing that has been magnifying, not just increasing, but magnifying your awareness, either your awareness of yourself or your awareness of life, creation, the universe, or all of those things. And a hand will represent purpose because, our hands have multiple purposes. They're multi-purposeful. Our ears, we can only do so much with our ears. Our noses, the only thing I can kind of do, I can maybe, press, I guess I can't type with my nose, but it'd be very hard, slow, and meticulous. But mostly I can just smell things, and I can, hang stuff on them, punch holes in them, and, drip snot from it. That's about it. But, not much purpose I can have for my nose. But your hands are so purposeful. Just like rope is very purposeful, like we talked about earlier. Water hose, very purposeful. Talked about that symbol earlier. But your hands are very purposeful. So it's all about your purpose, your life purpose, your soul's purpose. And so this awareness is in conjunction with your purpose in life. And you were feeling energized from it. So you were receiving life force energy from it. You were being energized and because you need that energy in order to fulfill your purpose. So this awareness, this expanded full awareness that you were receiving and moving into right now in your life, is ideal for what you need to do to fulfill your purpose in life. It's a great dream.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, be sure to thank yourself, for doing what needs to be done to have a dream like that. Are you able to connect that with your life experiences? Like you're able to see where that's showing up in your life?
Um, yeah, I'm trying to think. I think that I definitely have been um having a higher level of awareness. Um and just trying to be more careful about like what music I'm listening to, like
Yeah.
what's going to my subconscious, that type of thing. So I think that probably has a lot to do with it.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I was talking to sharing with a friend of mine the other day about music, because music is so programming and and they know that. That's why there's, specific frequencies that the majority of music that's pushed out to people hold specific frequencies. But in today's society, ever since really, I mean, like we had Walkmans and, you know, CD players and stuff before, but with the iPod and really ever since like streaming, like when Pandora and Spotify really took off, ever since then, and you can have free music anytime, it's really become so much more prevalent that so many people spend the majority of their day absorbing some sort of content that is like has a programming effect, whether it's like TV, movies, or music. And our human consciousness, like our brains also are not designed for that. For thousands of years, like music. We'll just take music because you said music. Stick with that. For thousands of years, the only time you really ever heard music was usually it was like late at night, when the villagers or town people or a group of people got together in some sort of communal fashion and started creating song and music. And other than that, maybe you sang to yourself or somebody sang to you, throughout the day, and you maybe heard music then. But now you can literally, and a lot of people do this, wake up from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. There's music playing, programming your consciousness, you know, and the mind is meant to be programmed. So, I say it all the time, if you aren't programming your mind, then, you better believe somebody else is, you know. So that kind of goes hand in hand with what you were saying. So that's an amazing thing to be able to be aware of. And through you sharing that just kind of says, or speaks to the level of awareness that you do have, self-awareness. Because if you're already actively taking steps in being mindful of that and navigating your day around that, then that means that you are also taking steps in consciously choosing how you program your consciousness. So that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I think a big thing was I was listening to a lot of, like, sad music that when I would listen to, I would
Mhm.
just kind of get in my feelings, and I was realizing that it was having an effect on me, so I try to listen to just,
Yeah.
like, more positive music. Do you think that that's part of it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. I learned a long time ago when I first started figuring these things out. The highest vibrational music is string music. Just
String music?
FYI. Yeah, yeah. So after that, I listened. Actually, I just mentioned it like 2 days ago that I haven't really listened to any of the Guzang in a long time. Here, I'll type it in here. The Guzang. I love the Guzang. It's an instrument. Anybody seen? Well, actually, it's. I think I'm older than everybody in here. There was a Kung Pao or something like that. It was an old. It was like a comedy or satire like kung fu movie. But anyways, it's kind of like a sitar, but it's an Asian instrument where they sit it on their lap. It has like 20, 30 strings. And they play it on their hands like this, like strum it along, like vroom, vroom, vroom. Like I don't know, when you hear like Asian like type of or like a Oriental type of string music, like down, 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 down,
Right.
that's pretty much the guzang. But yeah, I started when I found that out, I really started listening to that heavy. Just because I heard it and then loved it, and so found a lot of different songs for it and things. Most of those songs like 10 minutes long, so it was nice. But it did a lot for me. It helped encourage and stimulate the different shifts that I was already working on. So yeah, just throwing that out there since you were mentioning it. Awesome, awesome. All right, well let's get back to these other dreams. If unless you have more dreams, more questions or thoughts or experiences you want to share or anything.
Oh, I don't think so. Thank you, though.
Okay. Yeah, of course. And also, as everybody else knows, but just sharing with you, feel free to interrupt me at any time if there's, something we're talking about or going over that you have a question on or anything or something you want to interject with and share, always feel free. All right. So, how are you guys making sure that you are implementing the signs that your dreams are communicating with you in your waking life? Boom. This is a 1000 IQ type of question. Okay, so yeah, so let me ask you all, what what are different things that you all are doing or trying to do or think you may be able to do to to ensure that you're implementing the information from your dreams? Because like I say all the time, it's cool to have a dream. It's fascinating, especially if you're lucid dreaming. It's fascinating to get an interpretation on a dream, and it's intriguing to know what that message is. But unless you actually apply the message into your life, it's all for naught. It's all meaningless. Really, didn't really do anything for you if you didn't apply it. So yeah, what are ways that you all try to implement it? Okay, well yeah. So well, since half the group here is in here, one asked the question, and the other said, "This is something I'm working towards." Open to any advice. Then maybe Kiz, maybe you can help share something first before I share things on what do you do to ensure that you're implementing the message from your dreams.
One of the main things that I do is look in the past 2 days to see how this dream synchronizes with whatever I'm interpreting it as, and then how I apply it. How that. What was your question?
Yeah, how are you guys making sure that you are implementing the signs that your dreams are communicating with you in your waking life? So how do you make sure to apply the message?
How do I make sure to apply the message?
Yeah, how are you applying the message?
After I gain the message from the dream, how I apply it is I just look, I visualize first. I visualize how I want my day to go. and then I use the dream to apply that message to that day. So then so this dream won't pop up again. And so then I can learn from this message. So whatever the message is, I just look inside of, I don't look, I just visualize how I want the day to go, and I apply the message inside of that visualization. That's basically what I do.
Okay, nice, nice. That's good. That's good. So when you had this question, well, when I read this question, the first thing that came to mind was a kitchen, because food represents knowledge, right? You know, our body, we when we go to eat food, our teeth break down the food so that we can better swallow the food, and then our body can more easily digest the food, right? And then we can, once we digest it, then our body absorbs those nutrients. Those nutrients become a permanent part of our body. The nutrients become our cells, our skin, our organs, our bones, and then once we do that, then it's easier to let go of the waste, the excrement we then release and let go of. So food, it represents knowledge, because in our life experiences, when we break down our life experiences, it's easier to swallow what's happened. It's easier to digest what's occurred. And then when we do that, then we can more easily extract the nutrients of the life experiences, the parts of the experience that we can actually hold on to and make a permanent part of ourselves, the life lessons that we can learn from, the things that we can understand through those life lessons. And then when we do gain that wisdom, that knowledge, those understandings from what we've experienced, then it's easier to let go of the waste, the part that's toxic, and we hold on to the experience itself, like if you and a sibling have fallen out and you hold on to that for a long time, it's going to become toxic, if you don't let that go. But if you really break down what happened, maybe shift their perspective a little, maybe try to understand things from what they're experiencing, maybe, or whatever, just maybe not even do that, just kind of understand for yourself what you experienced, what you can understand and learn about yourself, learn about life through that experience. Then it'll be easier to kind of let it go, because it's like, wow, I've understood more about myself. I'm so grateful that that experience happened, because I wouldn't have come to this level of self-awareness, this learning. I wouldn't have come to this knowledge without that experience. So I can kind of let go of the fact that it had, being upset that it actually happened. I can kind of let that go. So I say all of that to come back to the kitchen, right? So if me and my sibling fall out and I do all of that afterwards, right? The food's already been prepared. And so now it's just on me to like chew it, swallow it, digest it, and let the shit go, literally. um, but the kitchen is before the fact. The meal hasn't been prepared yet. The experience hasn't been had yet, you know? So like when you're waking up from the dream, the experiences of the day haven't happened yet. So a kitchen is all in a dream is all about preparing your life experiences, preparing the knowledge that you're going to be available and have available to you to learn and understand through the experiences that you have throughout the day. So how I try to implement my dreams, the messages within them, is I will, before I have an experience, go into that experience with that understanding at the forefront of my mind. So like, for example, we'll take the last dream we interpreted, which was Sav's dream about the awareness, right? Being aware of what is actually programming my consciousness. Being aware of what I am absorbing, who's programming my consciousness, how is it being programmed? What is actually influencing me and who I become and what I experience? So, when I wake up that day, okay, I'm about to go to work. Am I going to throw on the radio and just mindfully listen to some talk radio and have their opinions influence me on how I view the world? Or am I going to just throw on some mindless music and have the lyrics that I'm not even really paying attention to infuse into my own consciousness and influence how I think and how the emotions that I experience? Or what am I going to do during that car ride? What am I going to, or maybe I do listen to something, but maybe I make sure that it is something that is purposeful and in alignment with who I want to become, what I want to experience, how I want my consciousness to be programmed. you know Maybe instead I choose an audiobook of some kind or something, or maybe I just listen to some different type of music, or maybe I sit in silence and just practice concentration, for the car ride. Okay, now I'm at work. Okay, as I walk into work, let me shift from a, kind of, maybe I was practicing concentration. Maybe I shift from a like more studious and disciplined state of mind into, like, maybe take my walk from my car to my work, shifting my consciousness into a productive state of mind, and then be very mindful throughout the day of the type of conversations that I have, the type of things that I entertain, and really be mindful of what is programming my consciousness. And so before I just look at how I can implement that message before I actually go into the experience. Like what's the dream before that, the creativity, from Vi. So as you go into each experience throughout the day, how can this stimulate my creativity? I'm about to go into the grocery store, and buy my groceries. How can I stimulate my creativity going into the grocery store? Okay, even though I have a list of things that I want to have, let me make sure that I am open-minded to whatever I receive from within myself, whatever thoughts I intuitively receive from within myself. And let me just be spontaneous and in the moment in my meal preparation throughout the week. I have a list that's a very guideline, and I'll probably still grab everything on my list, but let me be very open, because creativity is all about being open and connected, with your inner self as well, so that your intuitive subconscious mind within your soul can kind of come out into the forefront. That's why, like, all creative things is like, man, there was a lot of soul put into this, because you're allowing that connection to come through. And so let me be more creative with everything that I do. So that's one thing. I'm going to get my groceries. Let me find a way to really be more creative in just a medial chore of getting groceries. And so that's kind of like being in the kitchen. Let me prepare. Let me not decide after the experience has happened, decide what I could have learned from it, but let me choose the learning before I even go into the experience. And so your dreams, the messages within your dreams, are going to identify to you the learning that you're needing the most, or that you've been already been implementing, that is having the most effect. Because most dreams are either, hey, you aren't doing too good in this area, maybe do something about it, or your dreams are usually it's one of the two, that, or, oh man, you've been doing amazing with this, keep it up. This is how you did this, keep it up. And so that's how I ensure to implement the messages within my waking life. Any thoughts or questions or comments or anything with that? All right. Still have a lot more. Let me do this. Okay. So next, I had a dream last night. Me, some other guys were being captive by some people with guns. Oh, okay. But we weren't incarcerated. But we weren't incarcerated. Go walk around that place caught. I started talking to the leader and others, trying to get under their skin to find out more. They were talking to me nicely. They didn't hurt me or the others. We just weren't allowed to leave. I don't know why or what their plan was. I knew there was something wrong about that place, and I felt that. So I talked to the others to look for clues. Then me and some guys went looking around. At some point, I remember I was having a play fight with the guys. We were throwing snowballs at each other, and I was also throwing snow in their faces. We had fun. Then the other ran away because the guys holding us captive came after us, but I didn't run. And they were questioning me, saying, "What are you doing? And where are the others?" I started talking to them and told them they went that way. They didn't do anything to me. Also, Okay. Also, while we were playing with the snowballs, I hit the snowball in something and it fell. I found it weird because I realized it was made of carton. Then it hit me. This place is fake. So I knew I had to find out what was going on and that's the way out. Then I woke up. I hope you are doing interpretation like the last 2 times in the video. It was great as you have time to explain everything in detail. And I learned a lot. Beautiful, because that's what we're doing. So great. All right. So this this dream is like the big theme of this dream is being held captive, right? And finding a way to kind of just like moving through, like this is what we're experiencing now, but then also finding a way out of the captivity. So, whenever there's a gun or some sort of tool for change, any sort of weapon, you always want to first look at who has control of that weapon. Is it you or is it someone else? And so, a weapon, death represents transformation and everything's about you. So it's all about self transformation. And a gun or a weapon of any kind is a tool to create that transformation. So a mental tool like concentration, imagination is usually a big one. Visualization is a big one, is usually what it is. Ways in which you're creating the images within your mind, because your thoughts are images and your thoughts create your reality. So the thoughts within your mind will then create what you experience and who you transform into. And so whenever a weapon shows up, I always look at who has control of that weapon. It's always going to be you because it's your thoughts creating your reality. But are you consciously choosing what thoughts you create within your mind that will then create your reality and transform who you or determine who you transform into? Or does someone else have possession of that to where it means that you feel like things outside of yourself, people in your life or things within your environment have control and are influencing you in determining what thoughts you think and thus what you then end up creating for yourself or experiencing. And so like what that may look like is like Kez shared earlier, this 40-day plan that he has. He's already mapped out this 40-day plan. He's 2 days in already. He has 38 days left to go. He has a 10-day plan for each 4 stages of this plan. It's mapped out. He has consciously chosen it, and I'm sure he will go through some sort of transformation between today and day 40. But here's the thing: everybody in here right now, whether the 5 of us right now, and also the people watching the recording, we're all also going to change and transform in the next 40 days. But are we going to consciously choose how we do it, as Marquez is doing, or are we just going to allow the things within our environment and the experiences that we end up experiencing determine who we transform into at the end of that 40 days? And that's how life always is. Are you consciously choosing what you will experience and who you will become? Or is that choice being chosen for you? And so in this dream, someone else has the gun. And so she's being held captive, and so it's like the last dream we talked about, she's going somewhere. Like this dream is just all in one place. There isn't any going anywhere. And so I talked about with the last dream, what you want to focus on anytime there's any movement from one place to another, you want to look at, are you going towards something or are you running away from something? Well, she was going towards something. So there was progress and growth. She was reaching towards, she was making effort towards her goals. Well, now in this dream, you're captive. No progression is being made because you're being held captive. You are not allowed, you're not being allowed to continue to progress and grow. And that was only a 2-day difference, right? Let's see, 2/6 to 2/8. Your growth has been stopped, And so what ways have you allowed, what you want to look at is what ways have you allowed things within your life to stifle and stop your progression that you've been making. And there's one specific experience at the forefront that she's focusing upon. How do I know that? Because the snow and the snowballs. Water represents your life experiences. Well, frozen water or snow or ice, all of those will represent like one specific experience. Your life experiences are very fluid. but water is or ice and snow is very static. It's frozen. That's why they say frozen in time, right? Because that specific life experience is at the center of what's kind of causing this captivity here. But also, like there's some sort of frame of mind that she's been stuck in, and that's the place that she's in right now, because your places represent the state of mind you're in, the space where you exist within your mind. And so she's realizing at the end of this, she realizes and understands, oh, this isn't very solid. This, walls represent limitations, right? Fences represent limitations, walls represent limitations, prison, jail represents limitations. Those are all three different levels of limitations, the strength of the limitation. And what I mean by limitation is like if someone, do any of you know anybody, or maybe you are somebody or used to be somebody who used to talk down on themselves, or do you know people who talk down? They're always saying like, oh my God, I'm so dumb, or I'm such an idiot. I'm sorry. Why do I always make a mistake? Anybody know anybody like that?
For sure.
Yeah. So, that's a limitation. That's something that is such a strong belief for that person. It is personally true for them. It's not universally true. So any truths that people have, any beliefs that people have that are not universally true and that, hold them back is a personal limitation. So that's kind of what I mean by personal limitations. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So you're not the only one, Sav. Other people know people like that too. So that's what I mean by personal limitations. So offense is a very weak, not a very strong personal limitation. It can easily be jumped over, or usually there's a gate to walk through. Now a wall is a stronger limitation. It's a lot harder to get through a wall or jump over a wall. You have to have some sort of opening already pre-built into the wall, usually. You could, pick up some momentum and, a big guy like me, 6'4", 290, I could probably, run through a wall or two, maybe. I'd have to, hit it sideways and make sure I get in between the studs. But anyways, it's a lot harder. Pretty much that's what I'm trying to say is it's a lot harder to get through than a fence and get around or over and get past than a fence. Jail is a lot harder than a wall. Getting up and walking from one room to another is a whole lot easier than an inmate getting up and walking out of prison. And that's usually for a lot longer period, life sentence. So those are like major limitations, like, I don't deserve these things, or, I'm, life is hard, like, poverty consciousness is a huge life sentence limitation. When you break out of that prison, you'll really feel free. So like, I'm just kind of explaining all of those things to kind of help portray that she's feeling captive here, like a prisoner, but then realizing that what was really limiting you is so flimsy, like a carton, paper, pretty much. Oh wow, I can actually get out of here. And then that awareness then brings her to full awareness and wakes up. So what I would suggest in this dream is identifying what was it that was holding me back that day. What was going on in my life, in my experience, and that was kind of put up a roadblock for me. And then what about that roadblock, what about that limitation did I understand and come to a realization of that allowed me to realize that I can get beyond this and I can move beyond this whenever I choose, as long as once I put the willpower behind it to break through it and overcome it. So that's kind of what I see in that dream. Anybody have any thoughts or questions on that, or things they want to just share or liked about it?
Nope.
How do
Alright.
you like, if you have time to speak on this, like how do you
Yeah, absolutely.
combat thoughts like that are centered around money, like I need more money and
Mhm. Well, yeah. So like, I need more money is a lack. It's coming from a place of lack. Like your consciousness, your subconscious mind doesn't deal with like don'ts or nots. It's just the image, because our mind thinks in images, right? So what does the image of I need more money produce? It's, like to me, when every time I say the word I need more money, the like literal image in my mind is like this cartoon image of a man pulling his pockets out and they're empty. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just like the image that comes to my mind. And anytime I say that or hear anybody say that, so it's like, what do you do about that? Is you need to replace that thought. And so what do you replace it with? You replace it with one that is abundant. I have more than I need. 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 Even if you don't believe it, just say it over and over. A belief is just a thought you continue to think. I have more than I need. I have more than I need. I have more than I need. The universal law of believing and knowing is at the center of what you're asking here. The universal law of believing and knowing is the universal law of manifestation. And the difference between believing something and knowing something is experience. If you can't know something without experiencing it. And once you've experienced something, then there's no longer a need for belief because now you know it. Like I sent out an email to the, different 32 something people, and I put in the group in the Discord, right? All of those people believe that we're having a meeting tonight, a Zoom meeting, but they don't know, maybe we, decided not to meet. As soon as we started, we stopped. Maybe nobody showed up. Who knows? They don't know, but you all know, so I can go into the Discord chat and say, oh man, nobody showed up. We didn't have a meeting. See you guys next week. And all of the rest of the people will just have to choose to believe, well, which one was, you guys can jump in there. No, we had a meeting. What are you talking about, Tarak? And everybody would just have to choose who to believe. Do I believe Tarak or do I believe the other people? But you all, I could put that message in there and there's nothing I could say in there that could change you all knowing that we did have this Zoom meeting because you're experiencing it. And so when you have the thought of, I need more money, that is a very strong belief because you're thinking it all the time, consciously and unconsciously. When you go into the store, it's like I said, you have your grocery list, right? Someone who's in a thought pattern of I need more money usually is like walking through the store, maybe not even just a grocery store, or any store. It's like, okay, I'm coming in to just buy this, and I see other things that I like, but I need more money for those things. So there's like many different ways you're just driving down the street, whatever car you're in, that's just like the life of being in American society is, keeping up with the Joneses. You could be in, a Geo, I don't even think they make Geos anymore, but a Toyota Tercel and want to be in a Ford Focus. You're in a Ford Focus and you want to be in a Jeep Cherokee. You're in a Jeep Cherokee, you want to be in a Range Rover. You're in a Range Rover, you want to be in a Ferrari. You're in a Ferrari, you want to be in a car that turns into a helicopter. I don't know. But so when you're driving down the street, seeing other cars is just, well, I like that. Even though in your forefront of your mind, you may be saying, I like that car. In the back of your mind, for someone who struggles with this poverty consciousness, is thinking, I need more money. So how you change that and combat that, because that's a very strong belief. But like I said, a belief is just about that you continue to think. So you are strengthening that belief the more that you think it. So you have to actively replace it, and so you replace it with a new thought. I have more than I need. I have more than I need. I'm abundant. I'm prosperous. I have more than I need. I'm abundant. I'm prosperous. I have more than I need. I'm abundant. I'm prosperous. I have more than I need. I'm abundant. I'm prosperous. I have more than I need. I'm abundant. I'm prosperous. I have more than I need. Say it 1,000 times. Whenever I'm actively working on reprogramming my consciousness like that, I strive to say it 5,000 times a day. 5,000 times a day. And I do. It just turns into a mantra. Like after like 6-7 days, it gets to the point where like I'm saying it's just going, I'm talking to other people. Was it on here? Yeah, I think on here we were talking about it at the very beginning. Wait. No. It was a question that somebody asked. I think actually Didi. I think Didi was the one that asked it. And I was sharing it on here somewhere. Let's see. Oh, was it?
If you know what word was in the message, you can search for the word on the side.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, thank you. Let me see. Okay, well, anyways, what I was getting to was there's like it gets to the point where somebody asked a question about can you have multiple thoughts going on at the same time? I really want to find it.
Yeah, I think something you put in there prompted me to ask that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Here we go. Right here. So yeah. They're asking having two different thoughts at the same time, you know, and yeah. So yeah. Okay. I thought it was somebody asked something earlier, but it was right here. So you can whenever I have I do this omatri muyi sale do like once a year, once every other year. Actually, I haven't done it in like 2 years now, but I'll go like 2 weeks to 3 or 4 weeks, just saying that over and over and over. And I mean, I still like actually just this morning, I was driving this morning, and on the whole drive, I was just saying it for the whole drive. But that's like I'll still say it here and there, but I like going like 2 3 weeks straight, a minimum of 2 weeks straight of like saying it as often as I can, trying to get it 5,000 times a day. It gets to the point where it just has a life of its own, where it's just Om Matri Muyi Sale Do, Om Matri Muyi Sale Do. Like if this was day 10, then this whole entire Zoom, even though I'm having all of these thoughts and conveying all of these thoughts and messages and receiving these questions and conveying them back, it's still going on in the back of my mind. I'm falling asleep. Om Matri Muyi Sale Do, Om Matri. Waking up. Om Matri Muyi Sale Do, Om Matri Muyi Sale. You know what I mean? So have you ever just like woke up and a song's in the middle of playing in your mind?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like that. It's already going. Like the whole night, the whole day, it's going. And that's when I know I'm really making change and transforming that. Right. And it doesn't have to be like a actual mantra in Sanskrit, from Hindu, Buddhist, or Hindu monks, but it can just be, I am abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. I'm abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. I'm abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. I'm abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. I'm abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. I'm abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. I'm abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. I'm abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. I'm abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. I'm abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. And just saying it all day long, until that's just going on in the back of your mind. You're talking to somebody and you're completely fully engaged, but it's still just going on in the back of your mind. I mean, it'll take some work to get there. Definitely have to practice concentration to really get to that level of being able to achieve that. But that's how it can be the most effective, because your mind's like a garden. Lao Tzu is an ancient teacher that taught. He was like the year 500 BC, so around the time that Buddha was alive, and Zarathustra, um, a little about 200 years before Pythagoras. But he used the garden to teach his disciples and his students, because the mind is just like a garden. That I need more money is a weed, right? It's not producing something that is fruitful. It's not producing something that is life giving. It's actually in the way, right? So if you have a garden that you're wanting to produce, right, and you have some seeds that you're wanting to plant, I am abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. These are 3 seeds that I'm wanting to produce in my life. Well, if I just go up to the space that I want to be a garden and just throw those seeds down and walk away, it's not going to do anything. Like people talk about what they call affirmations, right? I don't really deal with affirmations because they don't work in the way that word is used, and the exercise that it brings to mind. It doesn't work. You know, like putting a sticky note. Like if you have 3 sticky notes, I'm abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. You put those on your mirror, you read them when you brush your teeth in the morning, and you read them when you brush your teeth at night. Okay, you just read those 3 thoughts twice. So you thought them twice that day. All throughout the day, you know, driving down the street, going to the store, getting your paycheck, getting your bill, checking your bank account, you're having the opposite thought, you know, and it has a lot more energy behind it. And so you need to overpower that thought. So you need to pull those weeds out. You need to choke those weeds out. You need to not just, you know, anybody here ever pulled weeds, like at their grandma's house or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when you pull weeds, did your parent or grandparent or anybody ever teach you like the proper way to pull a weed?
I don't think so.
From the
Okay. Like does anybody here know like the proper way to pull a weed?
from the root.
Yeah, from the root. You know, because if you just pull the weeds where it's like, you know, you just grab the plant, I don't see it no more, I'm good. It's gonna grow back. So you have to get it, you have to uproot it. And so that's how you uproot it. You starve the roots of nutrients. You know, you give the water and sunlight to the plant that you want to thrive. You know, the Om Mantri Muyu Saladi. I am abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. I am abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. I'm abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. I'm abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. I'm abundant, I am prosperous, I have more than I need. You know, so strive to say it 5,000 times a day. So that is what I would suggest for that.
That's helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Very welcome. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me see if I can get through the rest of these. It's getting late. I gotta be up at 6 in the morning. Okay, I don't run in this dream, which I think it's a good sign. I try to get under these people's skin to get out of there. Oh, it's the same dream continuing on. Wow, okay. So I'm fighting them, but in a sneaky way, not sure what this dream means. I also remember a bit of another dream. Okay. So pretty much, yeah, it's the same thing. But she's like fighting with herself about it. Instead of actually getting out, she starts like fighting with herself, beating herself up over the fact that she's in here. So yeah, take it easy on yourself, you know. You are where you're at. It's a journey. You know what I mean? The destination is momentary. Like when you get to your destination, that's such a fleeting moment because there's still more of the journey. Once you reach your goals, you know, you're gonna have more goals. You know, you have a goal of, you know, having $50,000, then once you get to $50,000, you're gonna have a new goal of getting to $100,000. You know, you have a goal of you know, eating healthy, and like maybe you have a goal of like losing 20 pounds, and then once you lose the 20 pounds, you all of a sudden have a new goal of maintaining that weight. You know, so I mean, there's all type of things. Yeah, if you have a goal of you know, exercising once a week. Once you start exercising once a week for a few weeks, then you're gonna all of a sudden have a new goal of exercising twice a week. You know, so you know the journey is all that there is. So be patient with yourself. Be easy on yourself. Okay. I also remember a bit of another dream. I saved a little kitten. She was so tiny and untidy and scruffy. Picked it up, kissed the little kitty, and hugged it. I know this is a mental habit, but I tried to think what it could be. No idea. Probably my thoughts. But since I have so many, it's hard to find out which. I'm trying to think about something positive if I find myself thinking negative thoughts. Nice, nice. So she's already trying to find when she realizes she's thinking negatively, trying to find a replacement thought to replace it with positive thinking, which is pretty much what we talked about. If you have a negative thought, replace it with a positive thought, but be sure to like fully replace it. It's kind of what I really delved into. But to sum it up very simply, when you discover a negative thought, replace it with a positive. When you discover a weed, replace it with a plant, flower, something that's going to be produce fruitful. Produce. Whenever a word is not there, then make one up. Not but another thing with the cats, so animals, you really want to focus, just like people, focus on what that animal represents to you. For most people, cats represent independence. You know, your habitual thoughts of independent. You don't really have to consciously choose to think independently. You just naturally are an independent person, and you think and you see yourself independent. You think in independent ways habitually. You know, you don't have to consciously choose that. And so, but maybe you don't see cats as independent. Maybe you see them as, you know, um, I don't know. I don't know what else. Maybe I don't know. I only see it as that. So, but other people see them in different ways. I've heard plenty of people interpreting dreams and asking them, okay, well, what a cat was in a dream? Okay, how do you see cats? And they, say all type of stuff other than independent. Most people say independent, but other people say other stuff. Some people like are scared of cats because they think they're like sneaky or something. So maybe they say sneaky. But whatever it represents to you, that's kind of the habitual way of thinking for you that represent. But there's like adoration there for it. So like if it's say it's independence, you're like, you adore the fact that you think independently. You're an independent person, thinking in independent ways, not dependent upon others. Because you're hugging it, you're kissing it, you're picking it up, holding on to it, showing it love and affection. All right, so I do seek validation from others. I doubt myself, and I always think, is this all right? What are they going to say? I want to stop seeking validation from others. I want to trust myself more. I do say the affirmations almost every day, but I'm not sure it's working. I know I'm not saying them as much as I should, but I also need to focus on work. I know they work because I used to do that in the past and I saw change. But this, with trusting myself, seems to be giving me a hard time. Sometimes I think I try too hard. Sometimes I think I don't try enough. But I have a lot of things to focus on, and I'm trying to take care of all of them, and I get frustrated. I need to learn to have more patience. Yes, exactly. So she already kind of intuitively understood the message from the earlier dream of beating herself up. Be patient with yourself. So that's awesome. And then this is also kind of in alignment with the question that Trisha was asking. Be to take the time to do that. If you have work, then as you're building up to get to the point of where it's just like on autopilot, just try to find other times and space in the day during your lunch. If you have an hour lunch, take out 20 minutes to say the affirmation over and over and over. Set you a little timer and do it for 20 minutes while you're getting ready for work, while you're driving to work, while you're driving home from work. Don't listen to music, don't listen to any talk radio, don't listen to a podcast. Don't do any of those things. Just focus on driving and the mantra. Turning that affirmation into a mantra. What else? I meant to circle back around to earlier with affirmations. Turn the affirmation into a mantra. That's how you make affirmations. And so, with whatever affirmation you're going with, as far as around trusting yourself, do that, and then find ways times around work to do it. And so maybe for like the first 4 or 5 days, find like 3 or 4 times a day where you can spend at least like a good 10 to 20 minutes where you're just focused on that. And driving is a great time to do it. And then after those 3 or 4 days, then keep those same parts in your life. But then in between those 3 or 4 sets of 20 minutes, also try to say it as much as you can. So yeah, you're at work, you're fully engaged, but whenever you're not fully engaged, get back on it, while you're working. And then, and the more you do this, the easier it'll become, and until it just kind of takes on a life of its own. Like I said, it takes like 7-10 days. For some people it might take, 10 to 20 days. Who knows? But just continue to, be, like I said, be patient with yourself. Move forward with it. Okay. I also need to live more in the present. Okay, hold on. Something else here. Oh yes, also with trusting in yourself. A lot of that is following your own intuition. So instead of thinking, whenever you think, is this all right? What are they going to say? Instead, once you have that thought, then stop yourself. Like, wait a second, that doesn't matter. Do I think that this is all right? Do I have anything to say about this? Don't worry about what other people are going to say. Worry about what you have to say about it. And work with your intuition more. The more you work with your dreams, the more your intuition will come. The more you meditate, the stronger your intuition will become. Anything that you can do to strengthen the relationship with yourself and your soul and your conscious mind with your subconscious mind will strengthen your intuition. The more stronger your intuition becomes, then the stronger you can, trust that intuition, then trust yourself. And the more that you then practice that, then the more that it will validate the ability to be able to trust your intuition. So the easier that it will become to do that. Okay, I also need to live more in the present. I think about the past all the time and also the future. I think about situations that already happened and I can't change. Our future, which I also cannot change or know what to expect. I worry too much and overthink. I'm trying to stop that. Maybe this is one of the mental habits I have. But in the last dream with the kitty, I usually dream about a bigger cat. This time it was a kitty and was not well looked after, was dirty. I also have this habit of imagining things that might never happen or could happen, all sorts of scenarios. I try to stop, but it's hard as I've been doing this since I was a child. Okay, so with this, you know, using the way to be present. So essentially, right here, what you're talking about is reasoning, the power of the conscious mind. Reasoning is the three keys to reasoning are memory, attention, and imagination. Memory to understand what you've experienced in the past, attention to understand what you're experiencing in the present moment, and imagination to understanding what you could be experiencing in the future. And so you're needing to become more present. So whenever, any sort of emotion like uh, worry, grief, sadness, regret, these are just like road signs, like, signs along your journey in life. Like, hey, pay attention. You're dwelling too much in the past. Fear, anxiety, worry, doubt. These are road signs from your emotions saying, hey, pay attention. You're dwelling too much in the future. And not just in the future, but of things that you don't want to happen. You're playing the what if game all wrong. Instead of what if this happens that's bad that I don't want to happen, what if all the things that I do want to happen happen? Play that what if game. And so the way that we can kind of remove our attention from the future and remove our attention from the past is through placing our attention on our senses, because our senses are how we experience this physical reality, and that is how you will then become able to become present minded. Anxiety, the thought cause of anxiety is scattered attention. And the root at healing, permanently healing anxiety, is through bringing your attention to the senses. What am I seeing? What am I feeling? What am I tasting? What am I touching? What am I hearing? What am I smelling? And continue to cycle through all of those senses until you get really good at it. And then you can put your attention on all of those senses at once and be fully present with your undivided attention in the present moment. It's just practice. It just takes practice. You know what I mean? Yeah, LeBron James has the physique that he does, which helps him. But I know a lot of people who are 6'7", and 270 pounds. I know a lot. I know of a lot of people, and I know a lot of people that are that size. Can't do the things that he does. That's because he's put in a ton of work. He's a Capricorn, so he's a hard worker. He puts in a ton of work. They talk about in sports the off season. There is no off season for him. So I'm not saying, you have to like be LeBron James or anything, or that anybody can. I'm not saying anybody can be LeBron James, but I'm saying that he wouldn't be LeBron James if he didn't put all of that work in. So it takes practice. It's going to take practice. It's going to take effort. It's going to take a lot of hard work to get to the point of being able to do that. But if you're willing to put in that, if you're willing to put in, if you are willing to utilize your willpower enough to make that happen, then yeah, you can certainly easily permanently heal that. I used to have extreme anxiety. Bad. All right. So next one. Yeah, anybody have anything to say on that? All right. All right. Had a dream. I was with some friends and family, I think, but I couldn't really see their faces. I just knew they were close to me. And I invited the royal family to dinner. They showed up. Parents served dinner at the table, and the rest of us were outside somewhere. It was a cloudy day and muddy, but we had fun anyway. Apparently, Harry has a twin brother. Harry was a decent, good man, but his brother was a jerk and with promiscuous behavior. I liked Harry, so I went. I went then to ask them what would they like to drink. They said they brought their own bottles of alcohol. The bottles looked expensive, and they were drinking different alcohol. I remember I smelled both, but Harry's smelled really nice, and I remember I wanted to try it, but I was ashamed to ask him. Then I said I will have a glass of rum and coke. I didn't drink because I was too occupied with thinking about Harry, and I wanted to get some courage to go speak to him. This is so funny that this comes up right after I just like really emphasizing will and willpower. um, you'll speak to him friendly because I knew he was married to Megan and I respected that. But this girl, she looked like someone I know from the past. She was very pushy and persistent, and she decided she wants to talk to Harry and try something. I remember I was so upset because he didn't even notice me, and he was with this girl. He looked at me a few times, but that was all. So I remember I wanted to go change clothes. More about the clothes. Make myself more attractive. Maybe he will notice me, but I didn't. And they were wearing normal clothes too. So at some point, they decided to leave, Harry and that girl. I saw Harry making a gesture with his finger next to his mouth, and the only thing I thought of was oral sex. So I figured it wasn't anything serious. He just wanted to have a one night stand, but didn't really like that because I thought if he is like this, I can imagine how his brother is. Then I remembered that everyone started laughing and making fun of this girl as everyone found out Harry was mocking her and he only wanted to fuck her. I was hoping he will come back so we can chat, but I don't remember anything else after that. I just knew that I don't like that girl and her behavior. So this is all about like sex is all about creation and like things that you're creating for yourself. So like we talked about earlier, people will represent the different aspects of your personality, right? The different characteristics of your personality. And so if you're wanting to create a new characteristic, if you want this, the same as creating a new person. If I'm someone who's lazy and I want to be hardworking, I have to create that. And so that's what sex will represent, is the creation of this new aspect. But this isn't really like, sex for the purpose of creating. It's just, for the fun of it. And so a lot of times we kind of like, think about ways we can be different, but we don't actually put it to action. It's like, I do want to be more hardworking, but it'd be nice. It'd be cool. I could do this. My life would be like this, but I don't actually get up and do anything. I don't change. I don't make any effort, put forth any effort to change. And so that's kind of what this is like here, which also would be why there's, alcohol here. Even though she doesn't actually drink any, it's present and the symbol is present. So there's like, alcohol is all about like breaking down the will. It's alcohol. That's what alcohol does. It breaks down the will. That's why there's a whole thing called like beer gardens. Normally, I will not be willing to do this, but since I've been drinking, I will go, home with this person. But anyways, so it's kind of like there's an understanding and a desire to create something new with like because Harry's related to like the king and queen, the descendant of the king and queen, right? And king and queen represent the superconscious mind as well, the authority within the self. And so there's a way in which she's wanting to create with a more spiritual part of herself, because the superconscious mind is mind that the spirit uses. But just the day of this, the day or two before this dream came, it was more just kind of like thinking about it, like, man, I could be more, I can spiritually evolve in these ways, and that'd be great, but I'm not actually willing to put forth the effort to make it happen. So that's what I would definitely suggest. So like what you were asking about actually, how do you actually implement this into your life? I would really look at, the next day, like, okay, how can I create more spiritual development and soul growth for myself? Okay, I'm about to go to work, through my mantras, boom. Okay, let me do that. Let me find ways to do that. Let me focus on, the programming and my consciousness and things like that. All these different things that I can do. Pick one and focus on that for today. Let me put in some type of effort, whether large or small. Let me put in more effort than I did the day before. Make this happen. Okay, I dreamt of being in Romania in my home city. I remember I was mobilizing by floating on the air. Oh wow. Then I was at someone's apartment at the last floor, and down I saw some people that don't like me. They were expecting me to confront me for some things I did in the past. Apparently, I spoke to their boyfriends or something. At some point, I took some courage and went down to speak to those girls, and I took a piece of glass that I found on the floor in case there was a fight. I spoke to them and I told them I didn't even know those people and I was trying to reason with them. They said something about an app I used, like a chat app. And I told them I only used that once to log in and then never used it again. They kept going and I kept being calm and cautious. I did not attack them, but I was ready in case they wanted to attack me. They never did. We talked. I was a bit scared, but definitely ready to action to defend myself. I remember imagining myself how I would cut them if they attacked me. Wow. But we never got into a fight. Then I left and I woke up. Wow. So this is just a whole dream more on like, beating yourself up for something, fighting with yourself, at odds with yourself. So it's, and it makes sense because like some of these dreams, she's cultivating like a lot of progress and growth. And then some of these dreams, there's just like the opposite of that. Like there's just a lot of stagnation or like not really wanting to put forth any effort to continue growing. And so she's probably, experiencing a lot of like inner turmoil, um, a lot of fighting, internal conflict. And that's probably part of the limitation, that she was experiencing in the earlier dream of like, being stuck in the wall, but realizing I can get beyond it if I really wanted to. I just got to put forth the effort. So there's, this is a great example. All of these dreams here, this whole sequence of why it's important to write down your dreams, because you can really see the progression of consciousness. You can really see how it's all connecting together. And then you can utilize the different things from all of the dreams to really formulate a plan and move forward. Like using the willpower to break through the limitations and create something new for yourself. Right. So I asked AI to interpret my dream. This is what it said. Dreams are often symbolic and have a personal meaning to the dreamer. The interpretation of the dream is based on full experiences and beliefs. However, here's the general interpretation of the two events in the dream. Swimming in a cold pool on a cold day. This could symbolizing a refreshing or revitalizing experience. Okay, kind of. Cold water might represent a new or unexpected change in your life that is invigorating and gives you a boost of energy. Being taken to a community room with hobby items. This could symbolize the need for community and connection with others. Hobby items in the room might represent your interests and passions, and the fact that they are included in the room could suggest that you're fulfilled and satisfied in these areas of your life. It's important to keep in mind that interpretation of dreams is subjective and vary greatly from person to person. That's the opposite of true. Ultimately, the meaning of your dream can only be understood in the context of your own experience and emotions. That's true. This is really cool because it actually is pretty, like pretty close to hitting the mark on this. The first part of this, like, no, it's not really about like community and connection. But this part, the hobby items in the room might represent your interests and passions. So like it's kind of connected with creativity there. That's really cool. It's kind of hitting it, but it is, a universal language, and all the universal language of the mind is incorporated in all of our language and consciousness. So it makes sense that AI would decipher it. All right, what does blood represent in a dream? Would it be identity? I know. So blood is your life force energy. So it will represent your life force energy. So no, blood represents life force energy. Yeah, exactly. So like if there's like a lot of blood, or anytime there's blood in a dream, usually it's like some sort of blood leaking. It's kind of letting you know that whatever context is showing up in, whatever's going on, like whatever interpretation you come to with that is draining you of your life force energy. So it's like if you're in the bathroom and you're not able to go to the bathroom, but then there's blood all over the bathroom, it's going to represent, bathroom's all about release and letting things go, not holding on to things. But so it's going to represent like the fact that you aren't letting these things go and you're holding on to them, it's draining you of your life force energy. So typically, whenever blood's showing up, that's how it's showing up, and that's what it's going to represent. It's like whatever's going on here is actually like really draining your life force energy. Okay, water symbolizes life experiences, and you swimming means how you go through your life experiences. Nice, anything you are feeling while swimming, and it will express your emotions and feelings. Life, mind. Not necessarily, because universal mind, is how all of our minds are connected. So yeah, it is like a community thing, but like when we look at symbols in a dream that represent the universal mind, we'll see a commonality of them. And then we can look at this community room and realize that that's not really, that aspect isn't really there. So, like a mall represents the universal mind. Why? Because it's one large building made up of small, different compartments that make up this large building. So, like all of our minds, all of our individual minds are small compartments that come together and create this universal mind, how all of our minds are connected, right? So, let's look at another one, a hospital. A hospital has all of these small compartmentalized rooms that come together to form the bigger building, hospital, hotel. All of these smaller individual rooms that come together to form the big building, apartment building, a dorm. All of these things are all like buildings where there's these small individual buildings that come together to form this larger building. This community room is all about community, but it doesn't really have that aspect of lots of different rooms coming together to form one larger building. So that's why I say that that's not really a universal mind, but that's good to, you're thinking in the right sense of like coming together in community. Whenever there's like a lot of people in a dream, it's more of your whole self, not just like a very small area of yourself, but like your whole self. Like with the creativity, like really how you are like truly your whole being is like your full creativity, like not just a little portion of your creativity, but all of your creativity is like stimulated here. All right, got a couple more here. All right, so priestess, I need one of your dreams here, someone who's in here. I mean, there's nothing wrong with anything else, but just saying. All right. In my dream, I had moved to some nice, expensive condos, and I lived. Oh wow. Who was it earlier? Oh yeah, Trisha. She had just bounced, but she was talking earlier about she just had a dream where she was going to shopping for a new home. That's awesome. And I was telling her that this dream is one that I look for. There's multiple different dreams that I look for in different mentees or students when I was teaching, not being a mentor, and buying a home or moving into a new home is one of the first ones. Exploring a home or a building, man, I found this little cabinet and I walked through it and there was so much more to this building, or I was in this house and there was this hallway and then there were all these rooms back here that I didn't know about, like exploring more of the mind, evolving into a bigger mind, your consciousness evolving when I had moved into some nice expensive condos. So you're seeing more value in your mind, your consciousness, you're evolving into a greater consciousness. Other ones are like ring dreams. Whenever there's like you're giving a ring or being given a ring or placing a ring on your hand, rings represent commitment, and everything in a dream is about you. So it's all about self. So a ring dream is really powerful because that's going to represent you're more committed to yourself. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this 40 days, Marquez has a dream or two or multiple of dragons, because a dragon is going to represent, the ego, but it's more of an evolved ego, so there is some level of mastery there with the dragon. And so that's another one that I kind of like look for in things. But this is one, so that's awesome. Because it's just like evidence through the dreams that you really are putting in work and progressing and growing. So for all of you, everyone else, be on the lookout for that in when you're writing down your dreams, for dreams like that. There's others too, but those are just the ones I kind of touched on. Okay, so in my dream, I had moved to some nice, expensive condos, and I lived on the bottom floor, and it had a cul-de-sac. I wouldn't tell anybody my new address, and my sister had asked and made it known that I wouldn't tell her, so I am in this new condo. I'm sitting in the hallway in a chair, and all the condo doors are like 2 feet high. You can see in everybody's house. It was like I was security or something almost. I lived across from this white lady, and she was very weird. She was actually the only person that I ever saw in this building besides myself after watching her for a while. Sitting at her dining table, eating and drinking, she decided to take a shower and she pulled out her tampon and she started to wipe her blood all on the walls and the doorways and light switches. Wow. Yeah, I guess she is weird. Lights and light switches all over the bathroom that we all had to share. Like she just put it everywhere. And when I confronted her about it, she acted like she didn't know. She didn't do it. She didn't know what I was talking about. But she's seen the blood everywhere. Ah, okay, so this is why you're asking about blood. My dream switches locations, and I'm in a bank. And I'm talking to some friends, and they work there also in real life. And I'm trying to tell them about this lady and how she was, and they just tried to get me to relax. One of my friends laid on the desk in the bank with a pillow and asked me to lay down to let's just take a nap. As I'm telling them the story, it was like I was aware it was a dream, but I was telling them as if it really happened. Next, so that's you're kind of semi-lucid there. So yeah, keep that up. Whatever you're doing right now, being more lucid and aware and awake during the day, it's starting to have an effect in your dream because you're starting to become semi-lucid, just like Dee Dee did in an earlier dream. It's awesome. Keep it up, and you'll start becoming fully lucid in your dreams. Okay, next thing I knew, I'm filling out paperwork and I'm trying to understand that. In fact, you're trying to understand it. It's also semi-lucidity. It has something to do with children taking shots. After I read like the first 2 or 3 lines, the lady next to me takes the paperwork and she's basically telling me that I don't need it. She hands off the paperwork to one of my friends and tells him to spit on it. They ball it up. Dang, tell us how you really feel about the paperwork, lady. Then she starts to show me how she has this marking on her right side. It looked almost like a star, and she said it came from the shots and it was a tracker. Oh, wow, Jesus. Now I see why she spit on it and threw it away. Okay, so 2 things here that are very common and very prevalent in the dream are the 2 places that you're at. You're first at the expensive condo, meaning it costs a lot of money there, money representing value. Everything's about you, so it's all about self-value. So you have more value for your consciousness, for the way you think, the state of mind you're producing. And then the bank. Bank is all about storing money, where you get money, where you deposit your money. It's all about value, self-value. So both of these places are about self-value. So regardless of what's going on here, there is increasing self-value. But be very mindful of things that are draining you of your life force energy. And this blood is coming from her womb. So it's which is supposed to be for creation. And so be very mindful of what you are creating for yourself. So I would highly suggest writing down, doing an I am list. So right at the top, take a piece of paper and write at the very top of the paper, I am, ... And that's the start of your sentence. And then number, well, maybe you don't have to number it, but just, number it one at a time and finish that sentence 100 times. I am blank. I am blank, whatever it is, write whatever you want. Finish it 100 times and then review the list. Look at all of the things that you like that's on that list, all of the things that are neutral, and all of the things that you don't like and that you want to change. And then look at ways in which you can start to actively put forth effort and energy towards changing those things, because you're draining your life, like your ability to create any something for yourself and consciously determine who you evolve into. You're not really utilizing it in the proper way, and at least recently, last week, and it's draining you of your life force energy. So be very conscious to do that, and really, and because another thing that this is going to do is help you to assimilate what you've been experiencing. So in addition to writing down your dreams in the morning, I would also suggest just journaling a little bit at night about your day, because that's going to help you assimilate your day's experiences as well. And it'll also enhance your dreams that you're going to have at night. But that's what, like, sleeping represents assimilation and things. And that's why your friend is, when you're at the bank, your friend is trying to get you a pillow and get you to take a nap. Hey, let's assimilate what we've been going through recently. So because all of those things will help you to no longer just be wasteful of like your life force energy and just having it, it's all over the place. It's in the bathroom. There's things you need to let go, it's all type of stuff on here. Light switches, so all of this will create more awareness where you can stop doing that. But nice. This is a great dream though. This is a great dream. Like the paperwork and things, that's like information. And so it's like, you don't need information. You don't need more information. You need more experience. You need to continue to do things that are going to stimulate your growth, not stunt your growth. Nice. Do you have any thoughts or questions about that dream or that interpretation? All right. Excellent. All right. So yeah, Trisha says, oh, we already talked about this. Huh. My mom and I are planning on eventually moving to real life. Yeah, my grandma came to visit me. She stayed up to look at the house we were going to potentially buy. Nice. We already talked about that. Good. All right. Vibrant Vi says, thank you. All right. So night of February 14th dream. In my dream, my friend sister invited me to my friend's house for what I don't remember. Now my friend was not there as I was in her house. It was just me and her sister. I was sitting on the couch looking out the window, and I noticed that she was home, and I wasn't supposed to run into her because for some reason we are not talking. So I tell her we have to go. She doesn't move. I'll grab my things and I walk out the bathroom and try to go down the back steps as she comes up the front steps. It was an apartment building and it's daylight outside. She sees me as I come out the door and I'm trying to go to the back stairs. And she says, hey, what's going on here? Then her son, with some other people, starts to come up the back stairs. I get caught in the middle of her and her sisters and her son. Now there's one lady with me, and we are standing in the middle of all of them. I just walk away, and she tells me her other sisters that she knew I was coming, and she told them that you don't remember I told you she was coming. As I walked away down the front stairs, I get into the car, and the lady that is with me, and we start talking, and I tell her I thought I was gonna have to fight 6 people by myself. Woo wee. There was really only 5, and she says that she would have helped, and then I wake up. I said, you barely know me, and drove away. Wow. So, oh wow, so you drove away. Interesting. So, this dream is way in which you're like, so one, you're in an apartment building, so it's like universal mind. So this is all about like how you're like interacting with other people. And there's like different, so like whenever we're interacting with other people, it is easier for us to shift in how the character we are portraying, the characterizations that are coming to the forefront, coming to the surface. When we're by ourselves, it's a lot slower shift. When you're all by yourself, like when you're at home all by yourself, you shift from like one thing to another a lot more slowly than when you're with other people. You might, because other people are going to influence you in some sort of way. Maybe someone says something that causes you to go from chill to elated, or chill to stressed out, or stressed out to calm, or calm to upset. So other people are going to stimulate us to kind of shift in different ways a lot more rapidly than we would by ourselves. So that's why the longer you're in this apartment building, the more people show up. The more ways in which you can kind of portray and convey yourself kind of show up. And then there's a way in which you're like wanting to fight with yourself and kind of beat yourself up over something. And it has to do with 6 people, but there's really only 5 people. And I think 6 represents intuition and 5 represents reasoning. And so I think it's 6 people, but really there's only 5 because intuition is built upon reasoning. And so this kind of comes back to an earlier dream that we were talking about earlier, Edie, about building and strengthening your ability to reason. Your ability, your reasoning ability. And so, remember the 3 keys to reasoning are memory, attention, and imagination. So if you haven't yet, I'd actually just linked it because Dee was asking about it on here. So right up here, you can, oh wait, here, right here. So into the chakras and energy, you can click on this link and it will take you to the memory exercise, and you can practice the memory exercise every day. That is amazing. It'll really help. The candle exercise will help with your attention, and the visualization, which we had there's the videos on that, will help you with your imagination. Visualization is your ability to control your imagination. Concentration, your ability to control your attention. So those things will really help you to strengthen the reasoning ability. And then under Zoom recordings, if you scroll up, anytime you see this mentee Zoom, you can click on that and it will take you to, yep, we want to move here. And so, the August 4th, it was me and Kaz. That's it. Talking for how long? What were we talking for? An hour, 2 hours or something? I don't know. An hour. And then there's mentee Zoom, boom. Yeah. Oops. I thought I paused it. And then these yellow ones are the visualization part 1, visualization part 2. I don't know why this says part 1. I'll just fix that. The other Q&As, visualization part 3 is the rhythmic breathing session. If you ever want to, use that to kind of follow along for yourself, to take yourself through the rhythmic breathing. Some more Q&As, visualization part 4. So boom, you can go there for all the visualization, different techniques with that. Q&A, boom, lunar cycles, solar cycles, and then Life Force 1. We're going to have Life Force 2 next week. So this is where you can go to get that here. All right. Any thoughts or questions or comments about that dream interpretation? All right. So this last one, I had this dream that I can't remember entirely, just the end. I was apparently in an amazing place, water everywhere, stunning landscapes everywhere. I remember I was thinking to myself that one of those places I've been before. It felt like I was in one of those places before with my ex. Then I remember I was with this guy and we were walking around. I was taking pictures with my phone, but I remember the phone was a little slow. Then all of a sudden, something happened and this guy disappeared from next to me, and I was in a different place entirely. So then I had this idea of what happened. I thought it must have been either a portal. I saw how it happened. It looked like every particle around me was changing and transforming into something else, like a picture changes pixel by pixel into a different picture. And when the process is done, you end up with a different picture entirely. That's how it was in this scenario. Around me, it was a different landscape entirely. And I figured it out by myself, just that I was all alone. So I continued walking around with no stress. At some point, I find the guy and he accuses me of leaving him there. I tried then explaining what actually happened, but he didn't believe me. Then I remember after all that walking, I was again in the same place I was when everything changed. And there was this amazing landscape with waterfalls, meadows, and with flowers. I remember I was afraid of going in the water. It looked cool, but dangerous too, especially for a person who doesn't swim. And I kept remembering this old dream that I had in the past where a huge wave of water came and took me away. I did have that dream. And I was talking with this woman about it. We were going towards it. I was trying to take pictures, but my phone was acting up. Got super angry and started swearing, saying I'll never buy a Hawaii phone again. Then started working again and took some pics and a video to capture everything. Then I was walking a dog that was apparently mine. I usually have cats in my dream. He was free and happy. Then I saw this woman with her dog. It was a small dog who was also very wet and dry. Oh, very wet and dirty. Another dirty animal. Interesting. I played with both dogs. Mine was bigger, fluffy, and soft. Then my dog ran free, having fun in nature. Then I woke up. Wow, this is an amazing dream. First thing I want to touch on is the portal. So whenever a portal shows up in a dream, so what's a portal? The function of a portal is to immediately transfer you from one place to another. Places are states of mind. And so a portal is usually going to symbolize either you were doing some sort of like drinking or smoking or something, or your body is still going through some sort of detox with that, because those are the things that will instantly transport you from one state of mind all the way over to this other state of mind that's not even connected. it's one thing to go from one state of mind to another that's connected, moving and shifting naturally from this room to that room, from this place to that place. But something, like that's why, like, a lot of times, like smoking weed, they call it a head change. Oh, it's a head change. You completely shifted immediately and rapidly from one state of frame of thinking to a completely different one right away. So that's what's going on in this. And then also in here, it's like a very serene and peaceful kind of scene, you know. And the meadows with flowers, the waterfalls, it's very beautiful and peaceful and serene, somewhere you want to be. And so maybe it isn't about that, but it seems like, kind of maybe smoke some weed that day, and you used it to kind of relax and shift from something kind of stressful to, this very peaceful and serene, relaxed place. But then a phone is, well, in this, the phone isn't really being used as a phone, being used as a camera, which is all about visualization. Oops. Which is all about visualization. And so, it wasn't really working. So she's kind of struggling with her visualization. So I would definitely suggest going and reviewing different visualization courses and practicing the exercises within there for sure. But then it started working again, and she could capture pictures. And then really, once you do that, especially the 10 most wanted technique in there, do that and visualize that every single day, 3 times a day. Visualize that list. Highly what I would suggest from this stream. All right. Well, that is all for today. Does anyone have any parting thoughts or comments or questions or anything? Kind of sped through these last ones so we could fit them all in. But I think we did a lot, going over a lot, some new symbols, and really very engaging with you all on kind of helping you to stretch yourself to understand a little bit more and deeper on dreams and what dreams are, and your understanding of the universal language of mind. So it'll hopefully help you to become better at interpreting your own dreams. Yeah. If nobody has anything else, then I'll see you guys next week when we go into week 2 of Life Force Energy. It'd be nice. I'm excited. Peace.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.